Hi, and welcome back to Collanamy's YouTube channel. Here we share the stories of successful solo business owners. Our second guest is wonderful Valentina from the United States. She is a marketing consultant specializing in social media. She's a speaker and a published co-author of the most amazing marketing book ever. Yeah, that is the title. Go look it up. She's also a big fan and educator of AI tools. Some thoughts from her were to just be brave enough to put yourself out there, get out of the analysis paralysis, and consistency is the key. We would all be rich and beautiful if you would be only consistent enough. And where you don't find a way, create your own. So have a good listen. Hello, Valentina. Great to have you here. I'm
Thank you for
already
having me.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. Pleasure is all mine that you took the time to come and share your story. It's all about the lessons for us, the ups and downs from your business journey. So, what do you say? Let's dive right in.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Great. So, tell me more about what is your business about?
So I started my business. It's going to be 12 years in January. So I started my business 11 years ago, and I was finishing up my master's in business administration. I was living in Florida, and to me, everything I was doing was related to marketing. So I said to myself, there's this new I'm living in a new area, so I left Florida to move to Tennessee. So I left my life. I didn't know anyone when I moved to this area. I was finishing up my MBA, my master's in business administration, and I saw there was no job opportunities for me. There was nothing, because in social media, which is what I'm do with the consulting and everything that I do marketing wise, there was nothing like that in the area that I lived. So I started my business out of a need, out of necessity, because I saw that anyone that had a business, whether it's a small business, whether it's a bakery, a barber, a plumber, anything, they needed to have a social presence. They needed not only to have a Facebook, but a way to communicate with their customers
Yeah.
one on one through social media. So I started my business back in January of 20 let's see, I'm doing the math here, 2012. So it's gonna be it's crazy. It's gonna be 12 years,
Mhm.
very soon. So I started my business out of a necessity. I was finishing up my master's. I was in my last semester of my master's degree, and I moved here and I said, okay, I'm going to use this degree and put it to work.
Mm. And did you mention where are you from? Where are you doing
Yes.
your business?
So where I'm doing, so I live in Northeast Tennessee, so I'm in the Tennessee, USA area.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things. You go from one area which is very diverse, there's a lot of diversity, culture. Florida, there's a lot of nationalities, to move to the middle of nowhere. I feel like in the middle of nowhere in Northeast Tennessee in the mountains. So that was a big change. But I think it's important to have an initiative. And if you see a need, if you see an opportunity, to go after it. A lot of people get paralyzed and they get, I don't want to know if I should do this. Let me think about it. Let me think about the logo. Let me think about the business plan. And they don't execute. They're too afraid to go for their dreams.
Mhm. So you
Yeah.
were studying to business administration,
Yeah.
and why did you start marketing business then? And
So
why
this
did
is a
you
great,
become a business owner? Why didn't you go to a regular job
yeah,
like
so
common
that's a
people
great question. Yeah, so that's a great question. And I saw an opportunity. I was doing my master's degree, and to me, everything was marketing. All the classes that I took, I was like, we can solve everything through marketing.
do?
If we just did a better job marketing ourselves, we would have more sales. We would have better leaders. Everything was marketing to me. So when I finished my MBA, I already moved here, and like I said, there was no job opportunities. No one was hiring. No one knew what social media was. I had to get through and educate people and tell them, okay, social media means this. It's not just a picture of what I ate for lunch, but it's a strategy. There's a plan. There's a way to communicate with customers. So there wasn't any jobs when I moved here, and I had to create my own job through starting my business.
Mhm.
And I think it's the mindset here. I'm a daughter of immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
so I think is if you don't find a way, you create your way. It's kind of like the American dream where you work until you get what you want, until you succeed. And I saw an opportunity and I was like, why not? Why not do this? I have the opportunity to build my business, and that's what I did before having children. I would go to networking events. I went to the Chamber of Commerce events. I went to professional events. I went anywhere. I auto invited myself to so many places just to grow my business, just to grow my network.
Mm-hmm. Were your parents business owners as well, or did you have
Yes. Yeah,
background?
so they as immigrants, they've created their own job opportunities
Mm-hmm.
by starting their businesses. So they've always worked for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's I think I saw that implemented. And the funny story is I wanted to be a veterinarian,
Yeah.
and I took a career test in my first year of college, and it said there you should be doing marketing. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a marketer. I don't want to be a business person. I want to be a veterinarian and help take care of horses and stuff like that. So for a long time in my college journey, I was pre-veterinary. So I would do, science and biology and chemistry. And then, things changed when I couldn't get past organic chemistry. And
Mm.
I had to change my major to the business side of animal sciences.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I graduated in college in 2008, which was horrible recession year. That was a year that a lot of companies, had all these financial problems. So it was a really bad time to graduate college because there weren't any job opportunities.
Mm. Okay, so let's go back from the very beginning. How long did it take from the idea of starting your social media business to your very first sale? How long did it take?
Oh, I love that you asked that question. So I started my business. I moved to this area. I moved to a different state in September.
Mm.
And then within like maybe October, I started attending networking events. I started meeting with people. And then I started my business when someone handed me a check in January.
Mm.
So let's see, from September on to January. So I moved here in September. And
Mhm.
then January, I already got someone to give me a check with money. And that's how long it took me.
4 months. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how was the journey like? What was the first product that you offered?
So I went up to my local veterinarian. So I had a dog, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm perfect to help you with your marketing. And the thing is, back then I would do the management, the social media management. So I would do the social media for my clients up until COVID. For the first 9 years, I was doing the social media for my clients. Now I just do workshops and one-on-one consultations. So but I went up to my veterinarian and I was like, you know what? If you want me to do your social media, I'll be the perfect person because I have a background in veterinary. I studied all these veterinary classes and stuff like that. And I would be the perfect purpose person because I just finished my master's degree. So I have a marketing background. And he's like, sure. And he wrote the check and he gave me the check. And
Wow.
that's how, and then I went to the business tag license the office where they give you your license, your business license. And the lady's like, when did you technically start your business? I'm like, let me look at the date of the check. The check was January 30th. So and that's how I went up to him. And I think it's a lot of people I know, especially like I was telling you in the pre-chat, I know so many people from your area of the world, and they're very shy and hesitant, and they don't go up to people and say, hey, my name's Valentina. They're very shy. I
Mhm.
have a lot of friends from where you are at, and they're so hesitant. I'm like, if you want to go after it, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be brave enough to stand out. I live in a place where no one's called Valentina. I stand out. I'm Hispanic. I speak Spanish. So people are not used to seeing people like me where I live, and that helps me. When in the middle of COVID, I remember I wanted to buy paint. So I went to the store that sells paint to paint my house. I had my mask on, I had black sunglasses, and I had a sun hat because it was in the middle of summer. So I was wearing this huge hat. And someone heard me speak to my family, and they're like, Valentina. And mind you, I'm wearing dark sunglasses, I'm wearing a mask and a hat, but they heard me speak. And since I have an accent, since I'm not from this area, people remember me. And I think it's important to put yourself out there, to say, I am not afraid to talk to people, to go to these lunches, to go to the Chamber of Commerce events, to go to networking events that are marketing or PR or what have you, and put myself out there.
To be
I feel
brave.
like I'm getting long-winded here with the questions.
No, that's perfectly fine. And I think it's so important to be brave enough to take these first steps.
Yeah.
Just put yourself out there to
Yeah.
ask the person out on a coffee that you think that is interesting or could be your new business partner or etc.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
like 2 minutes before the call, I
Mhm.
was texting my friend. She is Ukrainian and she's very shy. And she's like, I don't want to talk to anyone about my business. And I'm like, how are you going to grow your business if you're too shy? And there's a lunch right now, right after our call, that we can both go to network. And I'm always pushing her. And she's like, I just don't want to talk about my business because I have an accent or this and that. And I'm like, no, you have to put yourself out there because you need to pay the bills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think nobody is perfect. Like my English isn't perfect, and I'm stuttering at times. But it's okay. You just have to try, and you have to practice, and you have to do it more, and you will get better. I love the saying that bravery is a muscle as well. You have to just train it.
Exactly. And I have an act, like I said, I stutter too. Sometimes I get so excited, I'm like, da, 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 and I stutter. And I think that's just part of who I am. And people
Yeah.
appreciate because they stutter too. And they're like, oh, she stutters, kind of like Valentina, because she's kind of like me. So
Mhm.
it's good to put yourself out there, even if it's not perfect. People want to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you started it, and for your first paycheck to come, it took like 5 months. So how
Yeah.
did you manage scarce resources in the beginning, the money, the time, the skills?
Yeah, so like I said, I started really working at it. I didn't know I was going to start a business. So maybe from September to October, I was trying to see if there was something out there for me because I had just paid for my master's degree out of my own pocket. I paid for that out of my own pocket. So in October, I started going to these networking events and I realized there were no jobs.
Mhm.
So my husband got a job here. So I was depending on his income to grow my business. So he was working and I would, work myself. I go into these events and try to meet as many people. Another thing that really helped my business that first year was volunteering,
Mm,
spending a lot of time working with the local nonprofits. Since I moved to the area, I didn't know what the need was. There's a lot of people in this area that are food deficient. So 1 in 4 children in where I live have food insecurity. They don't know where their food is going to come from. There's a lot of people that don't know how to read. There's so many different things. And I got involved in the marketing committees and I would get to know people through that way by volunteering in committees.
mm,
Yeah.
okay. And do you remember what were the lows and the highs in that time, and how did you get past them?
So the lows was not knowing, who's going to be my next client.
Mm,
That first client was wonderful because I charged him. I didn't know what to charge, so I charged him a lot, maybe, by today's standards. But I did a lot. And it was a trial and error, not knowing, do I do this? Do I do that? And I think there's that issue. I was just telling someone earlier today. Since I'm a daughter of an immigrant, my immigrant parents always believed in blood, sweat, and tears, which is you work, you work, you work, you work. So I don't know if I did too much for my clients. So I think that the low was not knowing if I'm too available for them, if I'm doing too much for them. And then
mhm,
the high would be, okay, because of my services, I kept my client's business open. The
mm,
marketing helped them get new students or new clients or new patients or what have you, new people walking in the door. And if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have been able to keep your business going. So there was some great highs, but the lows are not knowing what you're doing for the first year or so, not knowing if you're charging too much, if you're working too much, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's a problem for many of starting businesses that it is and trial and error, and you try and you fail and you try again and you tweak and twist it until it works. So how
Yeah.
did you know that your idea is working?
When I started getting busy and when I started getting clients, and another thing is you reach out to people you've known in the past. So
Mhm.
people, maybe past jobs or past acquaintances or people that you might know, and you might say, hey, I'm doing this now. And you email a whole bunch of people that you've known in your past, and they're like, oh, I happen to need someone to train me on LinkedIn, or I need someone to help me with my Instagram, or I need someone to teach me how to do, whatever. And like right now, the big thing is AI. So now I'm getting people saying, okay, I don't need social media help. I need you to show me how to do AI.
Mm.
So you have to be open to doing, even if you don't know. I feel like anyone that we can talk to right now would say, oh, I don't know AI, but I'm willing to learn myself as much as I can about AI so then I can teach you
Mhm.
AI.
Okay. So how has your business evolved and where is it now?
So right now, like I said, the first 9 years of my business, I was doing the social media for my clients. Then during COVID, I was able to do a lot of workshops and webinars that were funded by the government for local businesses. So I said to myself, I'm going to stop doing the social media management. I'm going to stop being that kind of like that personal marketer for that company. And I'm only going to work on doing workshops, webinars, and then one-on-one consultations. So I've taken away that the busyness of everyday stuff to
Mm.
do more of like the creative, the workshops and the one-on-one consultation. So it's less day to day with that client and more big picture.
Okay. And you do it all online or
Yeah, so I do a lot of it in person and then I can do online as well. And another thing that I think would be very beneficial, this is super important, and a lot of people don't do this, and this is so important, having a local community. I know we talk about that a lot in Discord, but every Wednesday I go to a mastermind or a networking group, whatever you want to call it, and I hang out with local business owners. I hang out with local people. And there's something about every week going to a thing that's every week. You build a network, they care about you, you care about them, and then you're learning from each other. And I think it's so important. A lot of people can get stuck in their office and just do work, 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 work. But I think it's very important to take the time to build a community, be part of a community that's going to be so beneficial, not only for your business, but for your personal development.
Mm. How did you find a network around you? You
So
went.
this is super big where I live. There's a lot of what you would call networking groups. So they go to a local hotel. They go to
Mm.
the banquet room or the reception room or whatever it is at a hotel. You know, that little room in the back where they can have
Mhm.
little conferences.
Yeah.
So they rent out a room like that, and every week they have a group of people, and there's a specific list. They need a plumber, they need a baker, they need a mortgage lender, they need an electrician, they need all these services, and you can only have one of each service.
Okay.
So you can't have two realtors, you can't have two marketers, you can't have two mortgage lenders. So, and then each week there's a speaker, and it's always someone from the group, and they talk about what they're doing in their business, something that they would teach you. So for example, when I spoke 3 weeks ago, I not didn't speak about social media. I talked about AI and just how AI can improve your business, whether you are, a marketer or not, just day to day, like the prompts and the, social media stuff, like all that fun stuff that you can do with AI. But for example, the mortgage lender is going to talk about the different types of things like the interest rates. So we're all learning from each other. And
Mm.
then every time we do every Wednesday, one person goes every minute and talks about what's going on with their business. You do an elevator pitch. So by the time you've been doing this for a year, you've done your elevator pitch maybe 50 times
Yeah.
or maybe 40 times if you miss a couple of weeks
Mhm.
and holidays and everything. But like today, like after this, I'm going to go to a networking lunch right close to my house, and it's an hour and a half an hour of networking, and then an hour of everyone going around the saying, I'm Greta, I live in Estonia, I help businesses, da 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 da. So like that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to say, I'm Valentina with Beyond Engagement, and I help businesses with their social media and with AI. And then I talk for 1 minute, and there's a person counting you with their iPhone with the timer, and
Mhm.
then it's the next person. And then by the time you're done with it, you're like, maybe I should meet with Greta about whatever, or maybe I should meet with Valentina because I'm stuck on AI, or I need help with social media, or maybe I want to step up my LinkedIn marketing next year. So then they go up to that person. But back to the mastermind group, there's so many of them, and I visited several of them in the area, and for years I substituted. So I would go. A lot of people are like, I can't make it to this week, Valentina. Can you sub for me? Since we don't have any marketers in the room, you can come and meet for me and substitute, because you can only miss once a month. So I would substitute for people, and I got to know different ones in the area. And if you go to IBN International, it's all over the world. There's one that's a national one. I mean, a worldwide one. And that's what I would do. And I joined one that fit my needs. Another thing that would be great for people that are tuning in is joining what do you call it, a good support like Rotary International. So I'm a Rotarian, and we're trying to end polio, and all these amazing things that we're with this organization does globally. So for example, I can go to a Rotary that's in Estonia, and that counts. And that's another thing to do, is be involved with an organization that helps your local community. I feel like I'm rambling on. I'm gonna have some water.
Oh, that's great. I totally agree with you. And I'm a part of Junior Chamber International as well. And I totally agree with what you said. It's the connections that are all over the world, and you can go anywhere. I would
Yeah.
say I would go to Greece, and I can search the local group there, and they will accommodate me and take me in, just in their hands, and show me around. And it's a great place to start in these organizations. I agree. And that's
Yeah.
why we're building the network side as well in Collanomy. The point that you said, that it's so important to have different skilled entrepreneurs, like a marketer or a plumber, or because everybody has their different skill sets to give. So it's perfect that you have
Yeah.
kind of opportunities there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so important. People don't think beyond that, but I think it's so important for personal and business development to be part of these groups.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So going back to your business, are today's clients the same as you thought in the beginning they're gonna be, or have they changed in the way?
I think they're the same, because I think every business has the same need. They start a business, they move to this area. Where I live in the country, everyone's moving to our area because it's beautiful, because there's mountains and it's not too heavy. There's not that many people, not that many traffic. So a lot of people love living here. So they have their business in California, and they decide to move to Tennessee. So that need and that type of client is always coming back. So I think it's the same type of clients coming over and over.
Mhm. So they're starting again in the new areas, and you're helping them in there.
Another thing to think about is not only the people that just moved here from
Mhm.
other states, the baby boomers. So people that are like older than our parents, 10,000 of them retire every day. Every day, 10,000 of them retire. So they're
Wow.
starting a new business, or, they're like, oh, I've never done this before. Let me buy a franchise and let me make cookies every day from this franchise, or make pies, or what have you. So they need that social media help, because they didn't have to do that in their corporate job.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's another world to build a business when you come from the corporate world. It's
Exactly. So
it's
that's kind of like the people that I cater to. So it happened 11 years ago. It's happening again now. It's the same type of people that need help with their social media presence, with their marketing presence. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So how do you manage your business now after 12 years? Have the priorities changed for you somehow?
I think it's gotten easier because I've built a network and most people know me by now. So it's just like, just keeping up, keep going to networking events like the lunch that I'm going to go to after this. There's always new people moving into the areas that don't know who I am. So this is why. Or touching base with people. It takes 12 interactions, up to 12 interactions to close a sale. So I have to go 12 times to see this person, whether it's a chamber breakfast or this networking lunch, or maybe at the grocery store when I'm not wearing any makeup and I'm like, don't look at me. It's all these interactions that people are, okay, oh yeah, maybe I should work with her. The new
Mm.
year is coming up. Maybe I need to really step up. And I think that's why it's so important. Like an hour ago, I was doing my Christmas cards. I'm like bending down here, but I'm working on sending Christmas cards. So I'm writing Christmas cards to people. And that's just a good way of being top of mind. I sent my Christmas cards about a week and a half ago. So I was probably one of the first people to send cards out there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, Christmas, they're coming so soon. It's
I think the
beautiful.
big thing is the follow-up. If people, it's so important to write down, okay, I had some conversation with someone as I was going to the bathroom and they said, hey, I need to work with you. Can you follow up with me in 2 weeks? So I
Mm,
have it on my calendar, follow up with this girl in 2 weeks, and then keep following up because people get busy. Right now is the worst time to follow up with someone because they have Christmas parties, they have this, they have that, the kids' performance, their kids, it's so many things. And plus getting the gifts for everyone. Everyone's super busy going to the store for trying to find stuff.
yeah. So the priorities are the people for you, the network,
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
place where you go to share your business about. Is
Yeah,
that
because it's different with marketing. I don't know if you see that with other businesses. It's not an impulse purchase. It's not a pack of gum that you get. It's not something you just grab at the register and you're going to get. You have to know, like, and trust my services. You have to know and like me to hire me.
mm,
Or have a very desperate need to say, I don't know who I'm going to work with, but I just need someone to help me right now. So it's that type of thing. They have to know me, really trust what I offer, or they have to be very desperate because they need something now. They need results now. And unfortunately, that also happens a lot, that they're at the last end of their business and they need like a miracle to happen.
mm. Are you doing everything yourself?
Yes, I am. I'm a
Yeah.
team of one.
Okay.
And I think it works great that way at this moment. It's just I don't want to train someone because it's the intellectual property of all these years accumulated plus the master's degree, and it works great this way. It's very flexible. That's why I changed my business after COVID to just work on the workshops, the webinars, and then
Mhm.
one-on-one consultations.
And all the managing and accounting and business building part, everything by yourself.
Yeah, so nothing kills a marketer more than doing Excel. So I do the Excel myself, the bookkeeping, I do that maybe once a month.
Mhm.
So I keep it limited. I keep it easy.
Yeah.
Is the fanciest I get with my Excel spreadsheets is that I make it color coded because it has to be pretty and full of color.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does your usual day look like? And
It
your
varies. It varies by week to week, but I try to stack my events, my business events on Wednesdays. So if I have a meeting or a consultation, I try to do it on these days where I already have my face on for my networking group. So I can just stack things after that. So it just varies by the week.
Mhm.
And it just varies how it's just not, I think any entrepreneur will say that it just varies. There's some people that are very structured and they're like, if you want to see me, it has to be Tuesday and Thursday because that's the only time I'm going to put my face on for Zoom.
Mm.
And it can't be any other day. But I'm very flexible with my schedule.
Mhm. And you
Yeah.
mostly work from home, or are you more of a cafe
I'm a
work?
hybrid. So I'm a hybrid. So like I said, I do a lot of these networking events in person, but I also do these things online. But a lot of people want to work with me online, even though they're local, just so they can record it, like what you just did, that you press the record button, they could go back and look at the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
Has money limited your business development in some ways? And
Yeah,
how?
because you have, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say it does limit because the thing is, I want to go to an event, I want to go to a conference, I have to budget for that.
Mm,
And the more you learn, like break the chat GPT right now, I have to spend the $20 to get the latest version. If I want to be part of the Discord group, I have to spend $20 to be in the VIP so I can have access to the fancy speakers. So
mhm,
money is a limiting factor. Like, for example, I would love to have an opportunity to make my website look better, but it's a money factor. I have to sacrifice. Do I really want to go to that conference coming up? Do I really want to learn the latest on chat GPT? And so, and also time. I'm going to be attending the marketing profs AI thing. It's a weeks long thing on AI. I'm going to have to sacrifice time to attend this virtually and just learn. I did that in the summer. It was 8 weeks long and
wow.
8 weeks of AI information being thrown at me. And it's a sacrifice of time. So it just varies. There is sacrifice of time and there's sacrifice of money because you have to build yourself. You have to spend money to make money. So you have to go into these networking events and join these professional memberships, not only for your personal development, but for your professional development.
Mm, mm, true. It is very true. Wisely said. Mm. Have you worked together with someone to reach a common goal through outsourcing or via collaboration, or do you have some experience on that?
I have probably have done that a couple of times, but it's not clicking in my brain. But I do work with people. I do partner with people. I help people out, and they help me in return. So I just can't think of it right now. I'm drawing a blank.
Mhm. That's okay. But you definitely have struggles as well in your business. And how do you deal with them when they arise? And from where do you find help and support? From the network side, or do you go back to your parents to ask help? Or
I think it helps to have a mentor. When I first moved here, there's this local thing that is offered by the government. I don't know, called the Small Business Development Center. So
Mm,
there's offices all over the country, and it's free. And basically, it's like a business coach. They're like, okay, are you struggling with starting your business? You need a business plan. Let me help you create a business plan, like down to those basic things. And from that, I developed a relationship with my mentor who runs one of those offices where I live. So if I'm ever struggling and I'm like, you know what, I need this or I need help with that, it's so important to have a mentor and have someone that you can talk to that can guide you and help you. So whenever I'm struggling, and there is struggles, having a business is hard because it's like a roller coaster. There are
mm,
good months, there's bad months, there's all that sort of stuff, plus all the stuff that you have to deal with customers and just running a business. But
yeah.
if I struggle, I think it's important to have a mentor, someone that you can talk to. And having a buddy system. A lot of people struggle with networking, so I'm there to go with them to these events and
Mm,
be there with them. Or if they need someone to talk to and say, I'm struggling with this, and it might not do anything with marketing, but they just need someone to listen to. Is it good to be there for someone and have someone that can do that for you as well?
mm. Yeah, and I know in Europe there are also development centers that you can go to, and they're pretty similar. They're government funded and they are free to use, and they help with everything that involves starting a business and evolving it. So it's a good thing to go and ask for help from there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
If you would share something for another fellow entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or solo business owner, then what are your do's and don'ts when who to them who have not yet reached their goals?
I think we covered a lot of that today, but I think it's being consistent, finding a way to be consistent. If we were all consistent, we would be rich, beautiful, healthy, successful. Find
Yes.
a way to be consistent. Find a way. I think one thing that people underestimate is the power of time. It's a lot of stuff that you have to do, but maybe you can have little blocks of time and say, okay, I'm going to dedicate the next 20 minutes to write as many Christmas cards as possible. Or like what I did a couple weeks ago, my kids, they went to the gymnastics, and I just spent the whole time they were in gymnastics an hour and a half just writing the addresses,
Mm,
just coming like writing each address on all the envelopes. I'm going to spend the next hour and a half just writing the addresses, so when I have to get the card, I already have the address.
mhm.
So it's time blocking, being consistent, and finding a community, finding that tribe, finding that community that can help you grow your business, and not being afraid to put yourself out there. Again, don't have the analysis paralysis. It has to be perfect. It has to be templated. It has to be the same color. No, you just have to put yourself out there and make sure that you're doing it. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah. And looking back, do you now think differently about doing business compared to the time that you were just getting started? Are you seeing something different now?
Yeah, like I said, when I first started, I was doing my the social media for my clients and the marketing. Now I don't do that for my clients, so I'm doing
Yeah.
things differently. I'm more strategic, and it's like I've learned so much in the past almost 12 years that things that would take hours take not that much time. I'm so adaptable and so knowledgeable that it's things come faster to me than they were before.
Mm-hmm. And you have more time and you're more flexible.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
You talked about your family as well. How do you keep the balance between work and regular life, personal life?
I love that you asked that because I feel like everyone's going to say no one has it ready. No one knows the answer to that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's a question I even ask other people, and it's just you have to pick and choose. Um, the balance. You
Mm.
have to pick and choose. There's some things that I've had to sacrifice because I couldn't go or I didn't have a babysitter. And it is what it is. That's the saying that you hear a lot here in the United States. It is what it is. Oh, I couldn't get it done. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a constant struggle, or you, and because there isn't a perfect balance, you always like flip uh, to one side
Exactly.
or other side. To just have to um, accept it in a way and make the best
Yeah.
out of it, I think.
Yeah. I have a friend that's from practically where you're from. And I was telling her, just you need to put your kid in preschool,
Mm.
and it would be so good for you mentally to have a few hours, 9 to 2, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., just to get that work done. You'll feel refreshed when you pick up your child as opposed to trying to get work done while the baby's over there. Like I think it would be so impactful and so beneficial. And she doesn't want to do it because she doesn't want the kid to lose the language. And I'm like, but it's going to be so good for you, and it's going to be good for the child because they socialize, they hang out with other kids, they do little cutesy craft things. um, so I'm trying to guide her and tell her that it's important to do that, to help your business and maybe the kid too, to have that time for yourself. And I think it's having that village. I don't know how it is over there, but the way I was brought up, you have a family, you have your mom over there, you have your dad, or you have your cousins and your sisters and your siblings to help you with your childcare. That is not a possibility for me where I live. I live 14 hours away from my family. So I've had to depend on others to have family to help me balance my business.
Mm. Mm.
I
Yeah.
think it's being open to asking for help, asking friends for help. If you don't have family, and maybe you don't have family because a lot of people leave their hometowns for bigger opportunities in bigger cities like I did, or in my case I did the opposite. I went from a big city, Miami, to live in a small city.
Mhm.
um it's the grace to yourself to have other people help you and be willing to ask for help.
Yeah, and be vulnerable in that sense as well, to open up and just ask if you're having struggles, or just talk about your things with other people. It's because if you don't open up your mouth, nobody knows. Nobody
No
knows
one knows. Yeah,
that you're struggling or that you need help. They don't even know to offer you help because you haven't communicated it. Mm.
exactly. Hmm.
How would you say how easy or difficult is to be a small business owner in US in your area?
It's funny because I went to Spain in September,
Mhm.
and the guy that drove me, the chauffeur, the guy that drove me from to the airport to the train station,
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, he had this fantasy about the United States, this big fantasy," and I kind of like deflated his little bubble because he's like, "Oh, this and this and that and that." I'm like, "No, no one in the US knows about financial literacy. Financial literacy is not taught in the school system. That's why everyone is bankrupt. Everyone has struggles with money and controlling their money." And he's like, he had this idea. I'm like, no, it's not easy. You have to know how to spend your money. You have to know about money. You have to invest and all that fun stuff. And like I said, I could either spend $500 or whatever on a computer, or do I spend the $500 on a new laptop? It's like those sacrifices. Do I spend it on a conference, or do I spend it one time, 1 week conference, or do I spend it on a networking group? So those sort of things. So it's hard. I think having a business is hard no matter where you go because of all the stuff the personal things. um I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, yeah, of
I just
course.
rambled. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is, and every state has their own rules. How do you have to do the business, and
The
different.
taxes and everything.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the systems are so different. So especially when you come from another country, it's again a new set of rules, new set of boundaries that you have to kind of ease into it. And
Yeah.
get help from somebody for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're heading to the end of my questions, but I would love to ask you about what do you read or what do you listen to? What books or podcasts would you recommend to
So
listen?
anything that Mark Schaefer writes,
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan
Read.
of him. I'm so blessed to live like really close to him. So it's great to just have that proximity. Anything he writes, I'm a pro member of marketing profs, like professor, but it's profs. And I'm a member of that for years. I listen to the podcast. I listen to Mark Schaefer's podcasts. I subscribe to newsletters from marketing profs from social media today. I think it's important to listen to podcasts, and not necessarily marketing podcasts, but just running a business or what it's like to be a woman in business. There's so many podcasts out there, but I think it's important to educate yourself. We all have to do the dishes. We all have to do laundry. So when you're doing laundry and doing the dishes, you pop in a podcast or you put in a podcast and you listen to that. So that sort of stuff. I think it's always important to keep educating yourself. And like the AI stuff, I did 8-week course through marketing profs on the AI stuff. And there's a new one coming up in January. So it's like I have to constantly be relevant. And that's the thing with this business, a marketing business, you have to constantly be learning. It's not like other businesses, I'm assuming. We're constantly in the little rabbit wheel and like the little hamster that goes around the wheel and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. I listened to Mark Schaefer's last book like this. I did the dishes and I washed the clothes and I
Exactly.
listened listened to Audible. That's nice. So what are your next steps in your business? Where are you headed?
So that's a great question. I think it's one of those questions. Someone had just asked me that, and I'm like, I live by the day. I just live by I can't think a year or 3 years down the line. Like with ChatGPT, that completely disrupted my industry. I can't say I'm gonna do this next year because you don't know what's gonna come out. So I think it's just that's why you have to be proactive. That's why you're constantly learning the new tools, reading books, listening to podcasts, so you can be ready for whatever hits you. So that's
Mm,
my answer. Be
mm.
ready for anything that hits you.
Yes, perfect. So Valentina, where can I find information about you and your business?
So you can just go to my website, beyond-engagement.com, or you can just look me up on LinkedIn. I should be on LinkedIn as Valentina Escobar-Gonzalez. And that's it. And then definitely check out the book that I just became a co-author of, which I have in the background, the most amazing marketing book ever. My chapter is chapter 18 on Instagram. So definitely check out that book. It's in paperback, Kindle, and Audible, which was super fun because you get to hear all of our accents.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I think it's important to be consistent. And again, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You're unique. Everyone has their own story. Just remember the story of me buying paint. I had a mask on, my glasses on, and a sun hat. And people immediately knew it was me because of the way I talk. Embrace that accent. Don't be afraid of that accent. People appreciate you for what you have to offer them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Valentina. There's so many good things. I'm gonna stop recording and listen back to what we just talked about. There was so many good insights. So thank you again for this talk and your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you. Have a great day, okay?
You too.
All right, bye.